Hi, this is Paul Posey, the author of 75% Man. Today I want to share a video interview with IBG Publications. It was a great interview, powerful, and I'd say I want to appreciate them for allowing me to be on Working Wednesdays. Check it out.
All right, we are back. We are back, and our guest is up with us. He's laughing because y'all just don't know the journey we just had to get this on the road. And I'm like, we are not giving up
No.
until we get some success here tonight. So welcome to the
Can you
Working
hear me?
Wednesdays. I can hear you. Everybody, let me know that you can hear him as well.
Hmm.
I can hear you pretty good. So let me make sure everybody else can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I hear you. We can hear you.
O-
I'm listening on another device. So
Okay.
yes, welcome to the Working Wednesdays broadcast, Mr. Posey. God bless you, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm glad we got the kinks worked out. And now that we do, go ahead and greet our audience tonight. Say hello in your own way, however you feel led. Go ahead and greet the audience tonight.
Okay. First, thank you for having me. This is a production. This is not just some show I'm on. This is a production. And I want to say hello to everybody. I want to say hello to Nadira. She ran across me one day and she says, you know what? You have a message and we need to get behind it. And she said, I'm going to introduce you to somebody. And so I'm here with your audience to say hello and introduce this is Paul Posey in the flesh.
Awesome, awesome. Now off script, we got a script, but I deviate off the script from
Oh, okay.
from
This ought to
time
be
to
good.
time. So I've been following you, and I noticed you use a hashtag neg to pose. Can you
Yes.
can you explain your hashtag? And I'm sure it'll lead us into the rest of our conversation, but I want to know what your hashtag stands for.
Okay. Hashtag is negative to positive.
Okay.
As we see our life, majority of the time we come in this world, we're not coming from the best family and in the best circumstances and situations. And at that time of my life, the name started back in 2010. I just got out the Marine Corps. I mean, 2010, I purchased a car and it was a sports car and I wanted this fancy name for the car. And I had 7 digits and I was like, well, from here on out, my life is going from negative to positive.
Hmm.
So I got a job probably about a year and a half later, and this guy was making T-shirts at the job, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna need some T-shirts. I guess I should have worn one tonight, but I'm gonna need some T-shirts, and I want you to put some on T-shirts. I want it on 3 different sizes because I didn't know where I was gonna go with it. 3 different sizes, and I had a box of T-shirts. So now I got the tag on my car. Now I got a box of T-shirts. So later in 2011, I started college business management. I'm going to graduate in 2014. I had been teaching some kids how to play racquetballs, volunteering my time. And a guy says, you know what, if you're going to volunteer your time, you need to start a nonprofit. So I started a nonprofit called Negative to Positive.
Wow.
And yeah, and so now my books are in line with that. And we're at 2000, that was by 2015. And then I left the VA. So one of the classes, you have to create your own business. So I used the name and created a mentoring business while I was in school. And by the time I resigned, the paperwork came back from the VA. I mean, it came back from the status from the IRS came back. And so by the time I resigned from the VA, I had my nonprofit ready, and it's called Negative to Positive.
Wow.
I
Awesome.
don't know if there's a shorter version. I just popped up in my head and just
That's
I
okay.
wrote it for years, and it just became something that is really important to me.
Awesome. Well, I like to hear backdrops. I'm a storyteller, so
Uh-huh.
sometimes
Okay, cool.
sometimes I go around the mulberry bush and come back, but I come back.
Okay,
But
welcome back.
thanks for sharing your vision and what you are
Mhm.
still operating your nonprofit, right? It's still in operation?
No, it's kind of dormant right now because the thing about business here in Atlanta. I might as well tell the truth about everything I'm gonna say.
Okay.
There's some snakes out there,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't connect with the right people, everything you want to do will go to the garbage.
Wow.
So I ran into some snakes in my short time here, and something tells me to wait for the right people to move forward on it. You know, keep everything in place, keep it legal, keep it strong, and I just know that I will work with another program who needs me to work with them, and then I'll feel comfortable with that. So
Gotcha. And that makes
yeah,
sense. Sometimes we have to put it on pause, and that's okay. It's just on pause. And when the time and the season comes, then you pick it back up and keep moving with it. So thank you for joining us tonight. Such a man of great stature. We appreciate men like you out in the community doing positive, negative to positive, and putting
absolutely.
feet to the pavement, to see
Yeah,
things be changed and turned around. So we appreciate and your service when you were in the military as well. So we appreciate you and everything that you do. So let's talk about what inspired you. You've written several books, and so
yes.
the one I would like to focus in on, or the two, is one is Undumpable, and the other is the 75% Man. Yes, that one right there. That's the one we want to talk about tonight. So let's talk about
Okay.
what inspired you to write that particular book. And was there anybody that was a specific influence about that book?
Okay. Inspiration to the book. So I wrote my first 12 books in 8 months,
Wow.
from 2016 to 2017, May of 2017. So I said I wasn't going to write another book. I was done with it.
Okay.
Because my life was not designed to be an author. That was not my plan. I'm not academically set to be an author.
Okay.
All I can do is tell you what I've survived. I am the master of mistakes. So when it came to the 75% Man, I had been traveling around speaking about Be Undumpable, my other book, and I had all these complaints about men. Why, they're broken, they're broken, they're sad, they're disgusting, everything you can say negative about a man. But one thing I did not hear was they're underdeveloped. And because you keep saying men are broken, but you have to be whole in order to be broken.
That's good.
So for about 2 months, this is in my head. What is it, and what are we missing? And what we were missing was how these men got to where they are.
Right.
And how they got to where they are is the people who created them, who trained them to be man or lack thereof.
Right.
So you can't be a doctor if you don't go to doctor school. You can't be a carpenter without going through some type of OJT or someone showing you the ropes. So no one's showing us the ropes because the oppressor's plan was for us to be divided as family. And once you remove those instructors from the family, so everything that was supposed to be laid out and handed down is not there.
Right.
So these are the men from that destruction of the black family that you are trying to marry, that you are having children with. And now you're upset and you call them names and you post these things about if he was a real man. Well, if he had a real class, he might have been a real man. If he had a real dad, he might have been a real man.
Right.
But now you're looking at the flaws and you're upset at the flaws, but you're not trying to fix the problem. So it's much easier for people to be angry at what is in front of them, but not how they got there or think about how to fix it.
Wow. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
You said something very powerful, that if it's broken, it had to be whole. Expound on, is there a time that there was wholeness? Was that time at birth? Was that time in childhood? Where would the man have ever been whole if he became broken? Is that a clear question?
That's a question that can't be answered because,
Okay.
because when it takes, so the child is a jar.
Okay.
When we get the baby, we take the top off, mom pours in there and dad pours in there. If those ingredients aren't met, you don't know what you're getting. And if you remove the ingredients that are supposed to be poured in by dad, that means you only get half of what's in there. And the other half is filled up with peers and society and being victimized for the lack thereof.
Right.
So there is no, the only wholeness is we do it on purpose. We have to love them, lead them, and teach them on purpose to wholeness. Because now we're finally seeing what wholeness is. It's a harmonizing of your emotions and harmonizing of your growth for a purpose of family. How can you be better at family? No matter what you choose to do, how can you be better at family? We're talking about traditions. We're talking about skills. We're talking about finances. We're talking about being emotionally wealthy. None of that is on point to be trained because we're all scattered, we're all angry, and all have our individual pain that we have to deal with to even get to where we are right now. See, if we've been having these shows 40 years ago, then we'd find more people were doing the right thing as far as being a better parent. Because one thing the VA taught me was, when I was working with the homeless veterans, I would ask them, so are you connected with your family? And majority would says, well, I have kids, but I'm not connected with them. I says, why not? Well, you know, I kind of grew up without a dad. What does that got to do with your child?
Right.
You grew up without one, so now they don't have one, but you made them. So if you're not willing to break the cycle, you're just a part of the problem. Because children who are not connected to their parents, they suffer silently. And most young men are angry because they're not connected to their dads.
Right.
And then you see them out in the street doing things destructive, so bad things can happen to them because they're already used to the pain. That's where we're at. So they're only whole if you attempt to give them everything. So now the people prior to us, because I'm 53, the people prior to us didn't know we were supposed to be doing this. They didn't know they were in charge of the evolution of family to bring it back together after what happened to us. They didn't know that. They just trying to survive the parents before them who really didn't have a clue. Now our parents didn't have a clue. Now we got half a clue. That's why we're talking to the left and to the right. And that's why men are starting to put their foots down and says, I need to be better as a dad. I need to do what was not done for me, which goes back to my first book. My first book is called I Am My Own Dad. And I tell the young men when I talk to them today, if you don't have a dad, you be the dad you ever wanted to have. So if you wanted an upstanding dad who always did his finances, who always came to see the things that you wanted him to see at school, then when you have a child, you're going to have to be that dad. That resets the cycle for generations, and it helps us move forward. We just cannot keep saying, no one has done it for me. No one did it for me.
Right.
And then you have to suffer. Everybody behind you suffer. So we need to stop that on purpose to get it right.
Wow. This is such good stuff. For everybody listening, please like, share, tag the video. Please share, so we can get some more men in on this discussion to listen in to the experience that's coming from this man of wisdom. I'm going to call you the man of wisdom tonight.
Okay, you can do that. I think I'm the master of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm just blessed to be here and discuss them because I wanted change for my seed. You know, I can't be angry about what I didn't get. Because now it's me. It's me now. So,
Right. But you would still be the man of wisdom because you can only get wisdom from making mistakes, right? You have to make the mistake to now know what to do right or what to do better, right?
Absolutely. I tell the young men, you don't need to experience everything to know things.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And sometimes when we say wisdom, we want to go through things. We don't need to go through everything.
Right.
We just need to know the decision-making process that got there. the flawed factors that we used, and the lessons learned from it, and what we're going to do so we don't run through that again. And we need to do that part on purpose too. So I have the wisdom, but I want it to be someone else's knowledge, and I want them to take that knowledge and apply it.
Yeah.
We're quick to say, we have wisdom. I know a lot of people with a lot of wisdom, but they don't apply it.
Right.
And then when they hand it off, they don't reinforce the idea that it is not necessary to go through all this. We are generated by negative stimuli to move us to our greatness. We have to be on rock bottom to do our best. And I'm sick and tired of that.
Right.
Every time they show you an athlete, they show where he was homeless. They showed, all the adversities. Now we believe we're only at our greatness because of adversities, but I believe you can train better.
Wow.
I believe you can train better.
So with understanding what the problem is, what do you feel like are some of the solutions? What are some of the ways that, men can become whole? Or because you talked about the class that, they may have never took a class to learn how to become a man. So what do you think are some of the solutions for men to start getting to that place of wholeness?
Okay, I wrote it in my first book. The very first thing is never be afraid to talk to another man.
That's good.
You're going to have to, your answers that you want, and this is what God has done for us, the answers you want are in somebody else. And you're going to have to talk to other people to get your answers.
Right.
So never be afraid to ask. Pride and shame is an invisible wall you can walk through.
Yeah.
And we tend to think like it's made of concrete. That is the first thing, is you got to be able to speak to somebody else and then go get help. And sometimes that help is joining a men's group. Sometimes that help is joining AA. Sometimes that is going to church. But sometimes it requires professional help. Because all your thoughts and everything are scattered. And once you slow it down, you're going to have to retrace your life and see all the damage that you caused and see what you can fix.
Right.
To make sure you can go forward, because you're going to have to go backwards to go forward. You're going to have to go back to where this all started from to go forward. What did you get and what didn't you get? Because you know by now once you're an adult.
Right.
Once you call yourself a man, once you start having relationships with other people, he's like, I didn't know that. Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No one ever showed me that.
Right.
No one ever told me that.
Right.
Excuse me. So now you're at a point where you have to go back and see what you didn't get. And don't be afraid just to add things to you and get those things to help you and get some help.
Right.
One of the toughest parts is you might have to talk to your past. That means talking to your mother, talking to your father, talking to your siblings. Because there's something you thought, there's something that hurt you, there's something that angered you, that caused you to act a certain way as you move forward. That's what I learned. So once you go back and you retrace that, you fix what you can fix, and then you move forward. And then at some point, you're going to have to fix you. Right. You're going to have to fix you. Become. I wrote in my book, When You Wake Up. So all this came in order. Okay. All this came in order to brought me to where I'm at right now. When You Wake Up is about when I realized how important I was to everybody around me. I was important to my kids, my former wife, my family, my siblings. And I knew I wasn't who I thought I was. Wow. So I had to decide, what am I going to do? So I asked that new me, what would you do? What would you do? What would the new you, what would the you that I thought I was, what would you do? And the answer was different, because I was only making my decisions based on my experiences circumstances.
Mm.
And they were skewed because I wasn't whole.
Wow.
So what would a good man do right now? What is the long-term outcome of this decision that I want? So that took me about 8 months of almost looking crazy, talking in third party, talking to Paul Posey, N2P, to come up with the understanding that I want to make decisions based on, can I help everybody? And if I can't help everybody, I must help myself.
Right, right, right.
Really, because I wasn't in the equation. How I feel about the decision I'm about to make, and what does it look like 5, 10 years down the line? Because majority of the time we make a decision now, we make an emotional decision on a logical problem, and then we pay for it later.
Yeah.
So I did that. I started asking the new me what I wanted. And in about 8 months, I stopped asking the new me. I became that me. Me. I became me. And life really took off for me. Now, the problem with changing your life, you're going to come across some people who remember the old you.
Right. Right.
You're going to come across some people that you hurt, and you know you didn't hurt, but they're going to remind you.
Right.
Because when you start changing, that changes everything. And so they're going to remind you of something back then. So you get to fix it right then, or you can do is apologize and fix that part that made you do what you did to them, so it doesn't happen again.
Right.
See, that's what you got to do. So now you know, okay, so I was bad at that, so I need to address that, and how can I add that to the new me?
Right.
See, we're at this new point where we're creating ourselves, we're fixing ourselves, so we don't have to, our grandkids don't have to fix themselves. So now we got to remember everything that we're repairing, that we're working on, so it makes it easier as we teach forward and we give those elements forward, so there's not a problem. Great example. My mom did not like paying her phone bill, because back in the day, you had to pay for long distance.
Right.
So I knew when the phone was going to get off, because they would send that pink letter to the house.
Right.
Right. So that means they about to shut it off. And then she would just get another phone because she had 5 kids. You see what I'm saying?
Wow,
but she didn't say, you know, when bills come in, pay them bills.
Right. Right.
When bills came in, she treated them like strangers. So when I got out the house, I treated bills like strangers, like we did back at the house.
Right.
And then, but times have changed. They're forcing you. Society is forcing you to be responsible by the time I got out the house. So I could not get away from doing the right thing. So now, when I have kids, I have to teach forward the right thing to do about bills, because I learned the hard way, and you know, from the training I got before. So now we're at that era in time where we can actually do it better.
Right.
We got to do it better.
Right.
And if you don't do it better, it's not going to get better, and you're responsible. Here's what happens if you don't. Your children get old enough and brave enough to tell you failed.
Wow.
That's what happens.
That's true.
That's what happens. You don't want that conversation. You don't want that conversation. If you're not ready for that conversation, you don't want that conversation.
Right.
Because they're going to remind you of the things that you let them down, and how your absence or your neglect of training affected their life, which affects them right in front of you today.
Wow. Wow. So how would you say that writing the books, especially on the subjects and the topics that you write on, how would you say it's impacted you personally? Because, you know, we always write and because we want to help someone else. But how do you feel like writing them has impacted you as an individual?
I am whole and I am at peace. Not because I wrote the books.
Okay. Okay.
The information I got was putting me at peace. Writing a book didn't give me peace. Writing a book is the purpose.
Right.
The purpose is to get it out to everybody else. So I had already got it. but no need to be stingy about a blessing that I got.
Right.
And so you see what I'm saying? So it wasn't so much that writing the books had changed, but here's what happens when you do what you're supposed to do. 3 months ago, I get an inbox from a guy, and I housed him when he was homeless. And he tells me how meeting me changed his life. Because I was good at my job. I could get somebody housed in less than 2 weeks. And this man has changed his life. He's not even here in Atlanta anymore. He's doing his thing in another state. His life is so rich that he had to reach out and tell me about it.
Wow.
There it is. Because you don't know the impact. Your purpose in life is to do what you feel you're supposed to do. You'll feel it. The breadcrumbs, like the name from negative to positive. That started in 2010, and look where I'm at with it right now.
Right.
You'll follow the breadcrumbs, and as you do what you're supposed to do, then you shall be blessed.
Yes.
And everything you do today. So it just breaks me up what I think about. So the first place I spoke at was the Salvation Army. And this guy gets up and he's introducing me as a speaker, and he tells the story of how he was homeless. And it was another guy that I actually housed. That was the first time that it hit me, that these guys are moving on in their lives and they remember me and they tell me that I did something. So it's not so much the books. The book is the purpose, is for everybody else, but just the journey.
Yeah.
Did so much for my kids. It changed their view, because I didn't think they loved me anymore. I didn't think they respected me.
Well,
until I started loving me and doing those things, and it just all comes together.
Yeah.
That it enriched my life, because I was headed. I had PTSD, and I was headed to be a hermit and a violent person, and hard to work with. Those things were happening. I was going through that all the way up until then. And then I realized that my life just don't belong to me. It belongs to them.
Right.
And when a man finds his place in his family, it enhances everybody else.
Yes.
Everybody else. His failures affects everybody. His growth affects everybody.
Right.
My kids have watched their dad fall down and get up right in their face. And I was talking to my son, and he says, he feels good about having a dad like me. And I had to tell my son, I'll never know that feeling.
Wow.
I'll never know the feeling of being proud of my dad. But he can. I'll gladly sit in this spot that I am right now.
Right.
That he can say that, because he has a son, and he's going to start the new traditions of love, respect, training to wholeness.
Right.
There you go. So it'll live forever. When I pass away, generations after generations will say, this is Papa. This is what Papa said. This is what Papa wrote. This is what he said. Never rush to fail. He says things like that, and if I don't do it, then I'm failing them. So I don't ever want my children to be not loving me.
Yeah.
That's what we see now. When you got these men who are not pouring into their children, when they get ready to expire, they want people to come to the hospital and sit with them who ain't spoke to them in 20-something, 30 years, because he didn't do his part. And he's like, I've been wanting to call, and I've been wanting to reach out to you. And then when you show up for that family union, you got somebody else in the room who's another sibling you never met.
Right.
Because your dad was a coward to say and do the right thing. And that cycle goes on and on. We still see that right now. We still see people going through that right now, going to funerals and down to the hospital, seeing people that looks like them. And I didn't know I had another brother. Well, I've been trying to tell you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't need to keep giving them a pass. We don't need to
Right.
keep saying, well, they did the best with what they had. Damn that.
Right. Right.
Because you live your life every day the way you want to, but you don't want to do it the way you're supposed to do because you're in charge of other people's growth. So
Right.
that's what you're not doing. So it bothers me because it affected me because it happened to me, but I didn't want that to happen to my kids. Now, mind you this, I was headed down the same pattern as my dad because no one corrected me, no one listened to
Right.
me, and I didn't tell people how I felt, and I didn't say how I was hurt, and all that stuff. And that's what takes you to the point where that armor cracks. When you think you're a man, and then you find
Right.
out that you're not. You're an adult male. You're
Wow.
not a real man, because there's three things that definitely point out what a grown man is. That's accountability, responsibility, and understanding limitations. Three things. It has nothing to do with relationship.
Yeah.
He can be a grown man by himself if he understands and he works those three things. We don't even teach that. We don't even teach critical thinking.
Wow.
You know, I was in a men's group the other day. We were talking about sometimes you just gotta let your kids find out for themselves. No, you are the instructor. You are the first. You are the first person. You are the first educator for them. You need to do the best job you can. And then if life runs into them later, you've already armed them with some things they can do.
Right. Right.
That's all. I can talk for forever.
That's okay. I was just writing down what you were saying because it's good stuff. If you're listening to me, please share the video so we can get as many people listening to this positive message as possible. But I was just writing down some of the things that you were saying, about being a real man, being accountable,
Yes.
responsible, knowing your
Yes.
limitations, because
Yes.
there may be something that a child needs that you can't give. And so being a real man is knowing you can't give it, but getting your child to what they need,
Absolutely.
so
Learn together. You
yeah.
got to.
Right, right. So those are very good keys. Those are three good keys for manhood, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So as the book gets into the hands of readers, what's your desire? What do you wish that happens when people are reading your books? What's your wish for the books?
Don't be afraid to reset.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to evaluate everything you've gotten from those who say they love you, because they might have been 50% of who they could have been.
Right.
So this is your opportunity, is to change your tomorrow. You are in charge of tomorrow's history. 80% of what we go through as a culture would be changed if we apply more family unity. 80% off the top. We're not talking about oppressors. We're not talking about slavery. We're talking about immediate action right then and right there. So I want them to say, you know what, I can change that. I can go out and get something. I can do this better. That's what I want them to say. I can do this better without something bad happening again.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where we're stuck at. We tend to want to wait for things to get bad till somebody dies, some near-death experience or cancer to change. So I want to empower people to make change on the drop of a dime. Try it. Try to say, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
How say I'm going to do it better? And that's what I want them to do it better. And stop trying to cope. Stop trying to cope and do the work. Because we're doing more coping than we are doing work. Do the work, and the gratification from the work will just spread for generations. We don't want to do it because we don't believe in it, because we're not a part of that generation that received it.
Right.
We don't know what peace is. I say our journey is to find peace before we're too old to enjoy it. Before we're too old to enjoy it. And that's what normally happens.
Wow. What words of encouragement, if somebody was out there and desired to write a book, what kind of words of encouragement would you give them, especially after 13 times at it at the bat? What kind of words of encouragement would you give?
Somebody who wants to write a book, All right. Don't plagiarize the Bible.
That's good.
You want to tell some people some truths. You're going to have to be transparent, and you're going to have to tell the truth if you want to move them.
That's good.
Do not plagiarize the Bible, because people will put a large percent of the Bible in their books, and knowing this work that people have to mimic. Like, if you're homeless, what do? I was homeless, I prayed. No. After you prayed, what did you do? I went down to the homeless shelter. I called 211. There was another program. I looked at the busy board at the program, and I called those programs. See, do that. Be transparent and share what needs to be shared. The Bible's already written. That's what I've learned in being an author as of lately, that people, when they meet you, they want something from you. So give them something tangible they can put in action. That's what you need to do. That's what I believe.
That's good.
You're going to write a book.
That's good.
Be authentic. I believe in that.
That's very good, because a lot of people don't realize that telling your own story is not overrated. It's not overrated. When you tell your story, you make yourself more relatable to who needs to hear whatever you're talking about in the book. Most of the books that I write are about my real life experiences, because I understand and I know that people can connect to authenticity. People can't connect to what's fake. They can't connect to, and like you said, you're quoting the word, but not giving credit to the word. So those are things that, and anybody who's a real Bible scholar, you can't pull the wool over my eyes personally, but you do have to give credit to whom credit is due. And telling your story is scriptural. The Bible says that the testimony of Jesus is a spirit of prophecy. That means that when I testify, I prophesy into someone's life who's going through or has gone through or may go through what I have gone through. So those are very good points. Be authentic to you. Be true to who you are. Be happy to be you.
Absolutely.
And that will encourage someone.
You are carrying somebody's answer. You are carrying somebody's answer.
Yes.
That's why you went the route that you went, and that's how you guys intersected the day you intersect.
Right.
There's a reason.
Right. That's good.
When we intersect, I have something for you. And if you intersect with my book, there was something in that book for you, so you can go ahead and keep moving on your journey. Because if you don't know when you're going to die, you might as well keep improving your life so you can get to the point where you just enjoying your life. There's a difference between surviving life and living life.
Right.
Most people get that confused. Yeah, I'm not surviving anymore. I'm living this life. I'm living my best life, because there's nothing I won't fix. There's nothing.
Right. That's good stuff. So before we sign off for the night, go ahead and tell viewers where they can find your books, where they can make connection to you. If they want to reach out to you personally, let the viewers know where they can find you online.
Well, easy to find me on Facebook, huh? Yeah, check with Paul Posey on Facebook. I will be opening a new page, because I need to move my my professional life from my personal life, because some of my friends are like, "You're doing that again, Paul?" I'm on Instagram, negative to positive underscore, negative to positive underscore photos. I'm also a photographer, so that's working also. But majority of the time I'm on Facebook. I shall be moving to Periscope, and I might do some Instagram stuff. But I'm also on YouTube, Paul Posey on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to start doing more videos. I'm going to start taking more topics and breaking them down more specific than just giving this grand tour of my book. So Paul Posey on Facebook for right now. There's a page. I am my own dad page. And I am just going to just keep being magnificent to share, and this preparation I've been given to help everybody in their family. So you can also,
Awesome,
if you
awesome,
want to talk to
awesome.
me in
And
person,
then,
reach out to me. I'll talk to you in person too, especially men.
gotcha.
Yeah,
So,
don't be shy.
so you told them where to find you on social media, but where should they find you to purchase books?
My books are on Amazon. Everything's on Amazon right now. I have some books with me. If you were to take the time out and meet me here in Georgia, normally I keep some of my books with me and I will sign them and we can have a conversation. This is a good book. This is a good book. All of them are good books.
Yeah.
How you say all
Yeah.
of them are good books? Yeah, so I keep some books on me, but on Amazon you can find all my books. Always get the one that says bonus books because there's more than one book in that.
Okay, gotcha. Now, how about you mentioned that you are photography, and we do also interview business owners as well. So we didn't talk much about we didn't talk much about your photography. So, what area in Georgia are you in? Are you in Atlanta area, or where can they find you locally in Georgia?
Okay, N2P Photography, there's a page, N2P Photography here on Facebook where you find majority of my works of I do events. I'm also a professional headshot photographer. Something I started 3
Okay.
years ago. I believe everybody should have a hobby, and if your hobby can turn into finances, then you're doing great. And I love it. It helps in my therapy to give me instant gratifications of my efforts. So that's what a hobby is. It gives you instant gratification of your efforts, and I just happen to make money from it now. So look for me on N2P Photography and inbox me if you want some work done. I'm just south of Atlanta. I am very mobile, and I do travel out of the state.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So you've heard it here on the Working Wednesdays broadcast. Contact author Paul Posey, senior across platforms YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, negative to positive. I am my own dad. All that good stuff. The 75% man, be undumpable. My goodness. Such
When we
a
come back. Yeah.
full
So
of information.
when we come back, right? Yes. When we come back.
All right. All
That's
right.
a good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. What are your final words before we sign off for tonight? What are your final words you'd like to leave with our viewers tonight?
You are tomorrow's history. Do your job. That's it.
Okay.
Because they're gonna be doing. If we don't do it, they're not gonna do it, and you're asking them to do it. So you are
Right.
tomorrow's history. Do your job. When they talk about you, what are they gonna say about you? What are they gonna
That's
say?
good. That's good. What kind of legacy are you gonna leave? That's good stuff. Well, thank you so
Legacy
much.
isn't always money. Hold on a second.
Right,
Legacy isn't
right,
always
right.
money.
Yes.
Right. Love is legacy also. Yeah. So thank you.
That's good stuff because people do mix up legacy with money and how much that you left them in dollar signs. Oh, looks like we lost him or he signed off. But at any rate, thank you everyone for joining.